I literally went from a university dropout to living in a Dubai penthouse in like 15 months.
You went from zero to about 50K per month profit within your first 12 months of dropping out.
I had no sales experience. I just had a lot of self-confidence and a lot of self-belief. I remember I was watching Tate videos. It was a wake-up call. Tate put it into my mind, you need to do something because everything's your fault.
What kind of volume were you doing?
I remember getting on a call with my mentor and he said, Eric, you're gonna do 250 cold calls a day. I went on a streak where I had 60 sales calls of hearing no's. No matter how much input you do, if one person has like really shitty beliefs and one person has amazing beliefs, even if the person with amazing beliefs does lower outreach numbers, they're gonna get way better results.
How do you develop the mindset that kind of allows you to do it?
First of all is like,
welcome back to another episode of the TheoClarkePodcast, where I interview e-commerce entrepreneurs. Today's podcast is sponsored by Commercive Fulfillment, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Eric Kavelaars. Eric, how are you, brother?
amazing. Yeah, very good.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, of course.
Now, Eric, your story is quite unique, so would you mind giving a bit of a backstory as to what you were able to achieve in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, for sure. So pretty much 2 years ago to this exact, or 2 years ago and 1 month ago, I was pretty much had no money to my name and I just dropped out of university and I decided to go in all in on SMMA. So I pretty much dropped out of university and then started my agency a week later and moved cities, cut out everyone, broke my girlfriend. Like I didn't see anyone for pretty much the next 100 days after that. And it was probably the most intense period of my life. And then after that, I started making 10K a month. And I could go into more about how all that stuff worked as well. And then, now we're out in Dubai. So it's been a crazy journey, lots of ups and downs and fun times and bad times, but it's been a very, very fun time. So.
And you actually started to go down the traditional route in some senses. Am I right in thinking you're from Canada?
I am, yeah.
So Canadian, you went to university. In your second year, you decided to drop out. And I know that was a bit of a challenge telling your parents the decision that you'd made and kind of why you'd done that. But I think your father was actually quite supportive in the end once you explained the business model. Could you maybe just explain what led you to leave uni and why you chose SMMA?
Yeah, for sure. So, well, I remember I was watching like Tate videos. That's actually how I originally got into it. And I was watching Tate videos online and I pretty much was like, fuck, if I don't make someone work, I'm going into the rat race, the matrix of 9 to 5. Yeah, NPC. I don't think I would ever even allow myself to get into that position, but it was still like, it was a wake up call. Tate really kind of put it into my mind of like, you need to do something because everything's your fault. So that was about summer of 2022. And on about September 1st, I started the agency. But I remember sitting down at the dinner table and I told my parents, I'm like, guys, I'm dropping out. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, you're not dropping out. And I just started getting pissed off because I was like, no, I need to drop. Like, I'm not working 9 to 5, like, ever. And and I kept on convincing them over the days. And I remember going on this car ride with my dad up to like a 2-hour city away. And I was just like, bawling my eyes out, just like, I'm not fucking working 9 to 5. And I was telling him the whole business model and he kept on getting more convinced. And eventually, about a week later, I had a sublease to my apartment because I had everything fully booked out, flights booked, and I canceled everything. And then joined a course and also got a mentor in SMA. And then I just kind of took it off from there. So
for sure. And just for context, you were able to achieve success in, I would say in some senses, like an untold short amount of time. Like I've not really heard many people at all be able to accelerate their growth as quick as you did. And just for context, I believe you went from zero to about 50K per month profit within your first 12 months of dropping out of uni, right?
Yeah.
And that was all due to your social media marketing agency. So how did you get the ball rolling with that? Like, what was the initial starting point? You said you joined a course, you got a mentor, but this was something completely new that you had no prior experience in.
Yeah, I had no sales experience, no idea what I was doing. I just had a lot of self-confidence and a lot of self-belief. That's kind of the only thing I really had, to be honest, because I didn't have any skills or experience or knowledge, really. And the only thing I had was just a massive ego, but nothing like backing it up with. So that's kind of how I kind of pulled off at the start. But the way I really scaled fast was because of the mentor and also traveling and also networking. That's probably the top 3 things I always talk about, is just having a mentor, networking, traveling. Because first of all, having a mentor, you pretty much just speed up your entire process. Like I went from 0 to 30K a month in the first 5 months of doing it. Pretty much all profit as well. So that was like very, very fast. But the only reason I did that because of the mentor, because he pretty much told me, and I skipped all the mistakes that I would have made just by him telling me all the mistakes that he did. So that's that. And also just traveling around, networking, just meeting new people to tell you certain new things as well. It's all just kind of like based off your scaling ability is literally just based off your inputs and the way that you make the inputs work, like obviously based off knowledge and stuff like that. Because if you're going to do a bunch of inputs based off like a saturated outreach method, it's just not going to work. But if you learn from a network or mentor the right one, then you could obviously pull it off. So yeah,
for sure. So I wanted to touch on a couple of things there. Ego and scaling. We'll start with ego, because I know you said this in another video and you just kind of mentioned it then, where when the time is right, you believe that you actually need to have an ego. So like you just said, you had, not to say you had no skills, but you had no sales experience. You'd never run an agency before. And yet you had an ego that, in a good way, that allowed you to have the confidence that you needed to go all in and actually develop the skills that you needed. So sometimes I think maybe it's just that initial piece of confidence that people are otherwise missing. And I think a lot of your initial success was maybe due to cold calling, did you say? I think you're doing a lot of cold calling, DMing and things like that, which in itself is kind of difficult to do.
I know,
If you've never done it before, to handle that level of like initial rejection or trying to talk to people that don't want to talk to you, it can't have been easy. So I guess I would start there. Like, what was that initial process like? Because it was cold calling. I think you had other outreach methods as well. But that kind of sheer relentlessness and what model were you following to get to where you needed to be?
Yeah, for sure. So, and also about the ego thing, like, it's not an ego thing as where, oh, I'm not going to listen to people because I'm, you know, all this crazy stuff. It was more about like, I have so much self-confidence, self-belief in myself, and I'm already thinking that I'm at 10K a month even when I was at zero. Like in my mind, I literally told myself that I was already making 10K a month. And then my self-image just really escalated from there. And I started matching the actions and the habits and beliefs and the thoughts of someone who's already making 10K a month. Therefore, pretty much teleported there. Like, it's not actually teleported, but you guys know, like, it's about the process a lot. So that helped me a ton. But at least like getting into the cold calling stuff, like I remember the first day I was so nervous to cold call. And also on sales calls, I was literally hoping the prospects would no-show to the sales call because I didn't want to take the sales call because I was so nervous and because I just didn't know what I was doing. And I remember my mentor, he would actually get on the first few sales calls with me to like kind of walk it through. And one time, last minute, he wasn't available, and I was like shitting my pants. Just like I was like sweating and just like, fuck, like what am I gonna do? And then you just go over it and you do it, and you get better and better and better, and then you start closing clients, and then it's kind of from there. But I think people have to reframe cold calling, because for me personally, I don't like to do the whole go through pain and all this David Goggins stuff. It's good at certain points, but long-term solution, your subconscious will always beat willpower. So what you have to do is kind of incentivize yourself more and align the actions and your goals more with pleasure and not with pain, because the subconscious is always moving towards pleasure and moving away from pain. So the more you could align yourself and incentivize yourself, for example, with cold calling, I'm going to learn so many sales skills. I'm going to learn negotiation. I'm going to make $40 per dial, technically, according to the math. I reverse calculate it. And I'm going to, whatever, just make a lot of money, learn sales, go over pain, just learn all these skills. And that kind of incentivize yourself more helps you do a more long-term play and more consistent with it. Because if you just hate cold calling and in your mind, every single time you think about it, you're like, oh, like I just don't like doing it, you're not going to want to do it long-term. So you have to kind of reframe and kind of switch the whole paradigm around it, especially with goals as well. If you guys think that, oh, once you hit 10K a month, you don't know what you're going to do, you're going to have a lot of pain in your life, you're going to be hectic, you don't know what you're going to do with service delivery, like your subconscious isn't want to go to that area because it's always trying to avoid pain and move towards pleasure. So what we have to do is kind of rephrase it and actually have more pain, kind of rephrase it in your mind and have more pain in your current state and more pleasure attached with your growth state. This is actually what happened to me when I was 100K months and I'm trying to scale to $250,000 per month. And I was kind of stagnant between 50K and 100K a month for a while because I actually had so much pain attached with hitting $250,000 a month. I thought in my mind, oh, my service is going to be messed up. I'm going to have no time to travel, no time to talk to guys. I'm going to have really fucked back end, like all this stuff. But even though I consciously wanted to go there, no matter what, my subconscious would always prevent me from getting there. It was kind of like a battle in between conscious and subconscious. So what I had to do is literally just swap that and have more pain with my current state and more pleasure with my growth state of $250,000 a month, change the beliefs, swap them out, and now we're getting there. So that's kind of how you have to do it. So Yeah.
We spoke last time we met on the importance of gamification.
Yes.
And almost gamifying your life. Is that something that you've been working on recently?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So when you're talking about, what were the terms you were using then? Pleasure and
pain.
Okay, so pleasure and pain. How do you identify what you need to focus on to get past the pain to get to the pleasure? Like you mentioned about positioning there, of you swapped where you were now and made that painful and made the end result the pleasure that you're working towards. How does someone identify that based on their current state and work towards the pleasure that they want and get over the pain?
So I was actually on a call with a hypnotherapist. Very interesting guy, right? Super strange. Like he actually charges $50K for one-on-one coaching, and I was on a sales call with him. He's pulling some crazy tactics on me, stuff like this.
Yeah.
But anyways, he like crazy stuff, which I don't know if I'll go into on this podcast, but so he's one of these like really weird guys. But he actually asked me this question, which changed my life, and he said, "Eric, does it feel safe for you to be at $250,000 per month?" And I said yes, but I had such a hesitation, my throat clenched up, and I had a weird reaction. Even though my conscious mind was trying to justify my ego by me wanting to be there, subconsciously it didn't feel safe. And I actually started asking my mentees this, and I started asking people this, like, does it feel safe for you to be at 10K per month? For example, someone's at 0. And they say yes, or sometimes they'll just say no. But if they say yes, there's usually some sort of hesitation or the throat clenches up. Therefore, there's pain associated with being in that state. See, that's how you kind of identify it. And then you have to map out all your beliefs of what's going to happen once you get there. For example, you're at 0 now, you're at 10, and then you get a 10K month. What's going to happen in that process that's going to be painful? Or what's going to happen when you actually get to that end goal? Then you kind of have to just map it out and realize that those aren't really real beliefs. They're kind of just made up in your mind and stuff like that. And then you have to just pretty much all map them out on a list and then pretty much just knock them all off and get rid of them, because those aren't serving you. Yeah.
So they're just limiting beliefs in some senses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So once you've identified those, you just need to kind of overcome them and push past them to work towards your goal. So you mentioned you're working towards now like a $250,000 a month. Now, I'd imagine, if we're going to call them limiting beliefs, the ones that you had when you're going to 0 to 10, were they different to the ones that you have now, going from 100 to 250?
Yeah. But the thing is, I didn't actually have any limited beliefs from 0 to 10, which was very good, but most people do. Sometimes they'll have bad money beliefs from parents and stuff like that, or like money's evil, money's bad, and stuff like that, which is really bad beliefs to have, because that's going to prevent you, no matter how much input you do. If one person has like really shitty beliefs and one person has amazing beliefs, even if the person with amazing beliefs does lower outreach numbers or lower input, they're going to get way better results. Just because subconscious is kind of like blocking that new reality that they're trying to jump into. So, yeah.
So once you've identified the things that you need to overcome, how do you develop the mindset that kind of allows you to do it?
So there's about 3 different methods. Well, 4. First of all is like consciously being aware of it. Second of all is just visualizing. And third one is affirmations. And also fourth one is subliminals. I won't really get into subliminals right now, but they're pretty much like affirmations that you say that are recorded and then sped up and you listen back to. So for example, you constantly repeat, I feel safe at 10K per month, or I have amazing service delivery, or I'm fucking amazing at sales, or I'm amazing at outreach. If you constantly repeat these things over and over in your mind, some way or another, your subconscious is going to show that out in your daily actions, which will make you better at sales, better outreach. You're going to feel safe at 10K a month, and you're going to start flowing to that goal way more easier compared to your old beliefs that aren't serving you. So
for sure. So I guess that would be a great starting point for people that maybe don't even realize that they have limiting beliefs, but maybe have been working towards a certain goal but struggling to get there for some time.
Yeah.
Maybe the vehicle isn't necessarily wrong. Maybe it is, but let's just assume in this instance it isn't. But it's the mindset or the limiting beliefs that are holding you back.
Yeah.
So once someone is able to fix that, let's assume that they are in the agency model, just because that's what your background was initially. Where would the best place be to begin outreach? Or maybe you could talk on what you did. You said about cold calling.
Yeah.
So what was that process like, and what kind of volume were you doing? Because I think it was quite a lot, right?
I was doing a lot. So I remember getting on a call with my mentor, and he said, okay, Eric, you're going to do 250 cold calls a day, like 100 Loom outreaches a day, 100 cold DMs a day, and other like LinkedIn stuff as well. And I was just like, fuck, okay, so I just got to do it. But I remember I was just getting like headaches from like cold calling, because I was just doing way too much. And but I say on average, to be honest, I was doing about 150 per day. That was usually the numbers. And I actually had a 10% booking rate. So I was already getting 15 meetings every single day with realtors. And it was insane. Like just back then, I didn't realize how good of an opportunity it actually was because it was like my first time doing it. But now the market's a bit different. Sometimes people are still getting 10% ABRs, but yeah, that's kind of how I was doing. I was doing cold looms, cold DMs, cold calling, all that stuff. But usually the best one that actually worked out for me the best was actually cold calling. So yeah.
And after 12 months, am I right in thinking you actually exited your agency? Did you sell it, or did you just decide to tone things down and go into mentoring?
Yeah, to be honest, I honestly just shut it down because I actually realized I had a bit of an existential crisis, and I was like, okay, the more money I'm making, my life just doesn't change. It only gets worse, really, because of the clients that are, talking to me and stuff like that. So, and it was also for a few other reasons as well. I just didn't really like the agency. I didn't feel fulfilled, and I felt more fulfilled doing mentoring, which I'm doing now. And that's kind of how I guess I transitioned. So
yeah, for sure. Well, like we spoke about earlier, I think there's normally two things that people struggle with at an agency. Retention is one, but also acquisition in the first place. Now, it sounds like you solved the acquisition problem just through sheer volume. And you kind of were able to overcome that. I don't know what service delivery looked like at that time in retention, but as you're saying, the agency model, it can be difficult because of the level of communication, the team building, that kind of thing. So you mentioned that you weren't really enjoying that experience and wanted to go into mentoring. Could you break down what that looked like from a fulfillment perspective, how you built the team up, and more of the intricacies of the actual running of the agency? Running an e-commerce business comes with many different challenges, especially when it comes to order fulfillment. Late deliveries, high shipping costs, and customer complaints can negatively impact your business, potentially leading to payment processing holds that will eat into your profit margins. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to Commercive, our sponsor today. They handle everything from manufacturing to storage and shipping with no hidden fees. And their dedicated WhatsApp support team are on hand to make sure you're always taken care of. Commercive offers 5 to 10 day shipping worldwide from China, with same-day processing and USA warehousing available for brands at competitive rates. Having served over 3,000 e-commerce sellers, Commercive has earned a reputation for reliable fulfillment. It's super easy to get set up. Just click the link in the video description and visit commercive.co to get a free quote.
First of all, you guys need a sustainable backend and bulletproof backend, because if you don't, no matter how many clients you take on, they're all just going to get fucked. So you need to have multiple VAs and automations to pretty much the moment whenever you or your sales rep closes the actual client, they obviously get onboarded by the VA, they get the ads launched, they get the scripts written for them, they get everything done. That's when you pretty much have the most sustainable backend. But you also need customer success managers, all this stuff, because the big thing about retention is it is about the results, but it's more about the actual relationship with the client. And Charlie talks about this as well, Charlie Morgan as well, and also business partner Bo. Like, they had clients where they had really good relationships with because they would talk to you very, very often, even though the results were not the greatest sometimes. They would still like maintain them for a few more months extra. So I think that's a big thing. And obviously you're still making the money, but it's not as good as it could be. But you at least at 100K a month, you need multiple sales reps, you need ads running, you need client success managers, you need VAs, sometimes managers as well. But the big thing is transitioning into more of a scalable model. Like, so for example, typical agencies is like done for you. You need to switch into like done with you or DIY, because then your backend's way better, your margins are way better. So there's lots of things you could kind of do with that. But yeah, I think biggest thing is just switching into done with you though, is how to really scale and have, for example, with Estate AI, they were doing 300K a month at the peak, and they had done for you plus done with you. So they were doing like courses and also like sales coaching as well. And they also were doing done for you Facebook ads, which how they got all their clients' results. So
would you say it's just maximizing the opportunity with the clients that are already onboarded? So not just doing done for you, but also being like, look, we can come in, we can do X, Y, and D with your internal teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, for example, some of my top mentees, Kiwa and Keenan, who I actually scaled from like 7K per month to 50K per month in like 5-6 weeks. And they're actually in Dubai right now. They just got back. So it's a crazy story. But one of them was homeless like 10 months ago. Wow. And now he's doing 50K per month. It's insane. But they're actually getting quite a lot of revenue from just upselling clients on sales coaching. So and also a good thing to do is actually have some of your top clients who are doing the biggest numbers, have highest conversion rates, actually come in and just coach all your other clients at a mass scale, pay them whatever it is, a few $100 per call. And then that's going to increase your client results and also your LTV as well. So that's going to help them close way more deals. You're going to get way better service as well. And that's kind of the best way to do it. So, and also just, you could also have some of your top clients make courses on it, on how to close or whatever it is. But I think to start off, you definitely just need that extra sales coaching thing, because that's going to help you guys maximize the client results. So
yeah, for sure. So just upselling and cross-selling where possible.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So that's we kind of spoke now on a little bit how you were able to get your clients through the door, which was mostly cold calling. Was anything else working as well at the time?
Yeah. I was also doing cold Loom. So I made this cold Loom automation, which some of the legends might actually know about this on my YouTube. That was like one of my first videos, or actually was my first video. So I pretty much showed I created a method on how to like fully automate Looms. So that was very good as well for me. I got a few clients from that, but looking back, it mainly was just from cold calling, and I had a massive cold calling team as well. And that helped out a ton as well. So
amazing. Yeah. So cold calling, cold Looms, which that process, just to break it down, then is just sending a cold email, and the initial email going out is it a personalized Loom to the receiver?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, somewhat personalized. So it pretty much had this was the whole automation. So it had like a set recording of, it was like a 2.5 minute long, me just pretty much just pitching them and using a bunch of psychological biases. And then I would play that over me scrolling up and down the website, fully automated. So it would seem like I'm actually just reaching out to them. And the stats actually showed that if I said their name or if I didn't say their name, even if I was on their website saying the things, it would still have pretty much the exact same booking rates. So that worked very, very well. But I also started doing ads, and that's when things really started to take off. So this ties into networking. This is why I think networking is so important, because I had no idea what to do with ads. My mentor, he was good, but he didn't really take it to like the next level, right? So I actually had no idea how to run ads like for myself to get myself clients. And the way I actually discovered it was because of my YouTube channel, because someone DM'd me a few months ago. We became very good friends. I did a coaching call with him, and we became very good friends over the few months. And then one of his friends mentioned that he scaled from 10K a month to 40K a month in 30 days with this new TikTok ad strategy.
Okay.
And he was telling me about it. I was like, oh fuck, okay, we got to launch these. So I just did the exact same thing as him, and I think I cash collected like 20K in the first like few weeks of actually doing it with my friend who I was coaching before. And then that's when things really just started to take off, because it's like the networking aspect, because I would have never learned how to do ads if I didn't have a YouTube channel, because he came into me, and then so it's like, it's very, very, it's crazy. I think that's why networking works so well. Yeah,
for sure. Well, you're able to speak to other people that are maybe doing what you're doing or doing what you're aspiring to do, and leverage their knowledge the same way that you would do with a mentor, I guess.
Exactly.
Really just kind of like providing value to one another and just understanding what's working in each individual industry. So cold calling, cold Looms and ads, you then had a solid team and a solid back end that you had to build out to be able to fulfill. And then after 12 months, you decided you weren't really enjoying the process, you didn't feel fulfilled, and you decided to make that switch into mentoring. So what was that transition like? And I guess, how have you then been able to build out a successful mentoring business again from the ground up? Because it's essentially your second business now, right?
Yeah. So pretty much main thing is just YouTube. I think YouTube has pretty much got me almost all my clients, and also Instagram as well. But honestly, just having a good YouTube is going to be the best thing for the business. But at least in the back end, before I'm starting to transition more and change it up now, but before it was just purely just one-on-one, didn't have any course or anything. It was literally just one-on-one calls and WhatsApp chat. That's how I pretty much got my first few mentoring clients, like first probably just under 100, I'd say. And then from there, I'm now transitioning more of a model where my other top most successful mentees are also coming as mentors, helping me out as well and helping out with the calls and stuff like that. And I'm also having other guest speakers and stuff like that come in and help all the mentees as well. And I'm also doing like in-person client events as well, which is actually really sick. So I actually like a few weeks ago, I went to the same island that I did my first trip with Nick and Jordan, who we went to Crete it's like a Greek island, and I actually hosted the same event there, the same island. And that was a crazy time. We booked out like a 10-bedroom villa. It was insane. And we booked out some yachts. It was just fun time, because like I get so desensitized to traveling because I've lived it so many times. But I remember that first moment after dropping a university, and then 5 months later, or like 4 months later, whatever it was, I'm in like a villa in Europe living with my friends. It's like, it's such a crazy feeling, but I'll probably never actually experience that feeling again. But it was almost a similar feeling because I got to relive it through my mentees, because that was their first time traveling and doing all that stuff. So it was crazy to see like their reactions to everything. It's just such a good feeling. So yeah, I'm gonna try to host like a 30-person one out here in Dubai in December. So we'll see how that goes. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So were you able to take what you learned on your own journey and now apply that to your mentees? And is it the same strategy that you followed, or have you come up with any new strategies that people are now using to book calls, or is it the same cold emails, cold Looms, phone calls, and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So well, obviously it is somewhat similar, but there's obviously new things as well. As the kind of meta goes on. But yeah, I am doing new stuff like cold SMS is honestly the biggest one, and also cold calling as well. So I've pretty much scaled cold calling teams to do like 2,000 dials a day with my top mentees, and they're absolutely crushing it. So they're booking in like insane amount of meetings, like 50 meetings a day even sometimes, for real estate. So it's crazy. Yeah.
So again, like, would you mind just breaking that down? You don't have to give away the exact cold SMS strategy, but how are you then building these models, building teams to then do so much volume? Because I think that's where a lot of business owners struggle, is they may have a mechanism that's working that they aren't able to apply the time to. They maybe don't know how to train someone, to coach someone to do it for them. So like, would you mind breaking down that process of, okay, let's take cold SMS, for example, or cold calling. How do you build out that system?
So it's honestly a very simple system. I won't give like everything away, obviously, but at least with cold calling, you just have to pretty much just hire everyone out on either per hour or pay per appointment or just commission. So 10% of closed deals. And then from there, you literally just have to just put them all on one WhatsApp group, and then just put them on all go high level, and then just give them phone numbers, give them SOPs on how to scrape leads. And then they pretty much just start dialing from there. You can also track all the dials in go high level as well. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, at least with cold SMS, that's a bit of a secret, the way that we like to do it, but at least for cold calling, that's how we do it. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So when it comes to cold calling, if that is a mechanism that's still obviously working quite well, you kind of broke it down there, which was helpful, I think. But when it comes to finding people to do it for you, you mentioned pay per hour or pay on commission. Where's the best place to find people that can actually book calls or book appointments? Is it like a trial and error process, or
it is,
do you know you just got to throw people in and see how they get on?
Yeah, we'd like to honestly like hire fast and also fire fast as well. Like there's lots of people that we take on, but some just aren't qualified. But what we actually like to do is have a lot of leverage, is actually do like group interviews. So we'll hire, I've been on interviews where I'm hiring like 30 people at once, where it's just like it's a bunch of people, and then I say, okay, read off the script one by one, blah blah. And then they kind of go by it, and then I pick out the top people from that group interview, and then we hire them. And then if they're just underperforming, we kind of just say, hey, like probably not the best fit.
Yeah.
So that's typically the best way to do it. But there's lots of kind of little things you can do here and there. But it's like you need to overhire. Yeah.
And do they need to have experience, or does it help if they experience or are experienced in your particular niche?
It does honestly help, but I've also seen people with no experience, but they're just very good at speaking and just naturally good at sales. Like they're just booking in like 10 appointments a day, which is really good. Yeah. But the best way to hire is honestly mainly through your network as well. Literally just purely off network. You'll probably get a few guys. Remember, I actually put up a story and I actually hired a few. When I was in Greece and Portugal, everyone thought I was running a pyramid scheme at the time. When I put up a story like, hey, hiring cold callers, and after I dropped the university, everyone's like, what is this guy doing? And that was funny. But I hired a few from there, and then mainly just honestly just like Discord communities, Facebook groups, and also ones like you can do Fiverr. I don't really recommend Fiverr, but also Indeed.com is also gonna be really good as well. Yeah.
Are there certain locations that tend to do quite well for that kind of role?
Yeah. So yeah, typically South Africa actually is really good, because they don't earn much, and their accent is actually like pretty good if it's not too strong. And then also with as well, you could do like technically Mexicans who have been deported from the US. So but they live in Mexico now, so they have US accents, but they earn in pesos. So it's like it's an ultimate setup. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And when it comes to hiring these people, you mentioned a few different ways to kind of get in front of them. What is a reasonable rate to pay per booked call? I guess it would maybe depend on the service offering that comes after that and the price of that. But is there a particular like percentage that people work off of usually? Yeah.
So typically, it obviously depends where they're from and stuff like that. But typically, we'll do anywhere from like $10 to $50 per booked in call, or showed up call. You could do booked in or showed up call, because sometimes they could just book in random people, and it's like, so usually it's like per show up call, or you could do 10% of deal size after they actually close.
Okay.
So if they book someone in and you have like 1,500 per month retainer, then you just pay them 150 per month for the next 3 months. If it's like 3-month contract, yeah.
Okay, amazing. So hopefully that will be quite helpful for people that are trying to maybe scale an agency and haven't thought about outsourcing that kind of work, because I know it's something that I've tried doing in the past, which is like cold calling, or we even did some cold emails with Looms, and we've had success with both. But like I explained to you before, we never really doubled down on a strategy and truly scaled it, which I think is where we fell short in some areas. So I think hiring and just kind of getting other people to do it is really where the game changes. It's like, I'd imagine that's where it changed for you, when it was you doing all of the cold calls versus someone else.
I remember like hiring my first employee. This was back in Greece as well, in Portugal. And like, this was around January of 2023. And I was just freestyling everything. I was like, okay, do this. Like, and it was kind of a shit show, but then you just get better at hiring and stuff like that. But I remember just that first initial moment, I learned so much in those first few months. And the first year of business, like, it was insane because I was traveling everywhere and I was learning so many things, and that really just helped me progress so fast. And hiring people, having all the setbacks, like losing clients and all this crazy stuff, like shit happening, and then ups and downs. Like, it's it's such a fun thing to happen. And it's like, just looking back, it was crazy. And also second year business as well, it was really good. But
were there any like head in hand moments? Because I think it's one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot, is people are always often sharing of their success, but not always like the hard times. And I think it would be very relatable for people that are trying to maybe scale an agency or even just start a business, of just to hear some of the things that you maybe struggled with, if there are any that come to mind. 100%.
There's been tons. Like, I don't think really guys will share this online with all their downs and stuff like that. But there's been a lot. So like, for example, I went on a streak where I had 60 sales calls of pure no's.
Wow.
And I don't know what was wrong with you. I just wasn't closing no matter what. And I was like, fuck, I'm just fucked. Because then I would have this negative feedback where it's like, okay, what's the point of booking people in if they're just not going to close?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, why do I even book people in then? And then I would just get no meetings. So it's just like, it was really bad. But that was a very bad part of the business as well in my life. But it wasn't that bad. I was just getting like no new clients, which was obviously terrible. But the way I overcame that was actually just through visualizing. So I would just visualize myself closing deals, and that's how it kind of reset and stuff like that. But I just asked myself, like, there's no way this is actually how hard life's supposed to be. Because I also started losing clients in that period as well. And I was just like, everything got fucked. But I realized that was the moment that differentiates the winners and the losers. So I was like, okay, if I just don't stop, I automatically win. So I'm just going to keep on going and just not fucking stop. And that kind of grit got me to where I am now. And obviously I wouldn't be here in Dubai and living all these Dubai penthouses and all this stuff if I didn't push through that moment, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the small moments like that which will really just make or break a man. And I feel like the more you could push through those moments, the more stronger you'll get and the more you'll win. So
you have to tap into your inner David Goggins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Grit and determination.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that, because, it's helpful for other people. Maybe there's something else someone said about like cold calling and just like reverse engineering it. I think you said you knew that for every cold call you did, it was generating you $40. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So that was like $40, $45 of LTV and also about $15 of cash collected in the first month. Yeah.
So I think one way to look at it, and I heard someone else say this before, is rather than think, okay, that person wasn't interested, that was a wasted sales call, it's I'm one step closer to getting a yes.
Yes, exactly.
So like, I think one thing I've learned from you in this conversation is perspective and perception is so much of what you do, and mindset and visualization. There's a book you reference quite often, and I think maybe you've shared some of your learnings from that already, but is there anything you could share about that particular book, what it's called and how it's helped you?
Yeah, so it's called Reality Transurfing. If you guys, this is pretty much the only book you'll actually need in life. I mean, I say that, but it's actually such a good book, because that book will pretty much change your reality, like to whatever you want it to become, essentially. Because the way that it was pretty much written by this Russian quantum physicist, and it's pretty intense. But also Iman's read it like over dozens of times, stuff like that. So it definitely does work very well. And it pretty much explained that there's like an infinite number of parallel universes that coexist at the exact same time. So what you're able to do is kind of just like swap into those different realities based off visualizing and just feeling like you're already in that new reality, and you'll kind of like move towards that. So there's ones where whatever, we're at $1 million a month. There's also ones where we're homeless. So there's ones that were even 5K a month above our current revenue numbers. But you have to, it's pretty intense, to be honest. It's a very deep book. It's like heavy hitting. But I've definitely used that to get a lot of things in life. For example, my username on Instagram is just Eric. I did that through those techniques, and maybe a bit of luck as well. And also a bunch of other stuff like meeting certain people and just weird things happening that it's so unexplainable, like naturally, where I'll meet a certain person and it was the most random, like you can't really explain how with like common sense. So yeah, I
actually downloaded the audiobook last night. I haven't started listening to it yet, but you mentioned it in your video. I think you said you've listened to it or read it many times as well, right? I'm interested to see what I can pull from that and how I can apply it to my life. But it's interesting for sure. And you said Iman has also read it like a dozen times. So yeah, definitely worth checking out then. Not that I can attest to it yet, but I'll give it
it'll probably change your life. Yeah, it's crazy the results you can get out of it. Yeah.
So are there any things that you're working towards currently? You mentioned the Eric username, you mentioned meeting certain people. If you're big on visualization, I know you said getting $250,000 a month, which is obviously a revenue goal or profit goal maybe, but are there any other things that you're actively working on?
Yes, 100%. So probably, pretty much what happened is I achieved everything I ever wanted at like 21 in my life. So I was like, fuck. I had a bit of an existential crisis because I was like, what do I even do? Yeah. Like, I'm making so much money, and the more money I make, my life doesn't change. So I'm like, what do I even do next? Like, there's just no point of making money almost. I had that. It's such a bad belief I had. I broke that belief. And then I kind of just realized like what actually gets me fulfillment besides money. And I realized it was like helping people out. And also big eye opener was actually the in-person client event in Greece, which I hosted, because I was just insane feeling just seeing all the guys there, the mentees in person. So I think the big thing I'm working more towards is like having the best mentorship or like service delivery on the market, so I could host these massive in-person client events. Because that was the first time I was like, this is so much fulfillment. So the big thing I'm working on is like, I'm going to try to have, the end goal is to have like a few thousand mentees and also have these like 100+ in-person client events. Like if I could have like 100 people in Dubai, like we're all like going on dinners, like renting Lambos, like that'd be so much fun just to see that in person. Because it's like Dubai's done so much for me, and I also know it's done so much for all my mentees as well. It's just a different type of energy here, I feel like my other mentees that got here, in the first like 72 hours they made like 13K profit, and that was like the most money they've ever made, like ever in that time period. So it's just like, it's such a crazy experience. But I think that's a big thing. Also just building up the YouTube channel as well. The Instagram would be cool as well. And then I think just $250,000 per month. I realized I broke the beliefs of hitting that $250,000 a month because I thought that so much stuff was going to happen then. And now it's just, my life's just going to get better if I get there. So yeah.
I think it's funny because some people are a little bit skeptical about courses or mentorship. I think just because of a lot of the fake gurus and the scams in the past. But people might often say, I hear this a lot, if you're so good at what you do, then why do you need to teach it to get the money from it? But I think you're a perfect example of actually having scaled an agency and now actively doing it for other people. And I think this is what I've said to people in the past when they've asked that question is, running an agency, you're sometimes just in this wheel of service delivery, and not that it doesn't feel fulfilling, but I know as well, having coached people, that it's so much more fulfilling when other people get their first win, where you almost like thrive off of that energy, where you're like, oh, I actually changed someone's life, and like I've been able to help them get that first win. I remember how I felt 3 years ago when I had that win as well. So I think it is a different sense of fulfillment when it's not just for you, it's for someone else.
Yes.
Especially if it's a journey you've been on. So yeah, I'd say that. But then in addition to that is, when it comes to the things that you're working on and working towards, scaling your YouTube, scaling your Instagram and things like that, it definitely helps to have these goals. And Dubai, I agree, is like a perfect environment. Because you don't even need to visualize because you're constantly seeing everything all the time. So like, you know, the cars, the wealth, the money, the people,
it's insane.
It's almost at arm's length. Like you can almost touch it. And it just really inspires you to push harder. I've definitely noticed that about Dubai. It kind of has a relentless energy here.
It's also the type of people you meet as well. Like for example, you know who you are. If you're listening to this, absolute legend. He's like one of my really good friends. I won't say his name, but he picked me up in like a Brabus G-Wagon yesterday. We went for lunch, the Burj Al Arab, but he was telling us in the car that he's going to hit like 30 to 50 million liquid in the next like 6 months. And just hearing that, I'm like, okay, I need to fucking ramp things up, because I'm only $250,000 per month. That's like nothing. Like he's going to do 30, 50 million liquid in the next 6 months. Like I need to step my game up. Like that's embarrassing to be at that such a low level. So, and that might like piss a few guys off, like they're trying to hit their first 10K month, but I'm just saying it's very important to expand your awareness, expand your horizons to get to the next level, because like that's what's really going to help you guys out with scaling.
It just shows you what's possible, though. I think that was actually something that personally I struggled with for a certain amount of time when I moved to Dubai. Is I was sitting down with so many people who, on an intellectual level, I would be able to have a conversation with and provide value in some sense, and feel like I'm actually assisting in things that they're talking about, and vice versa. But yet they might be earning 10, 20 times as much as me. It really confused me. I was like, how do I get over this? And I'll relate it back to something you said right at the start about instead focusing on being the person that would attract the money. Because I sat down with a friend of mine here, someone I met in Dubai called Samir, and he was like, well, first of all, why do you want to be a millionaire? Why are you trying to compare yourself to these people? And I said, to be honest, it's not even about the money. I just want to prove to myself that I can do it. Like,
Exactly.
I've been grinding it out for a few years now. Like, I just feel like I deserve it, but clearly something's not quite aligning. And he just said the same thing as you. He said, well, rather than focus on the money is a lagging indicator of success. So focus on the daily habits that are then going to get you the outcome that you feel as though you deserve. So focus on being the character who will attract the money, and money will catch up.
Yeah, that's something I really like to focus on as well. And when I teach mindset as well, because you don't achieve the goal and then you achieve the character. You have to achieve the character first, then you achieve the goal. And that's like the daily actions, daily habits, the thoughts, the beliefs, like everything, especially like with the beliefs thing. Like you have to have the belief system of someone who's already at your goal first, and then you actually achieve it. Because like that's just what's going to really speed the progress. Like a ton.
This time last year, I was living with my parents at age 27. Today, I live in my dream home in Dubai. If I knew then what I know now, I could have achieved this in 6 months instead of 3 years. Within my Google Ads Ecom Academy, you can learn how to scale e-commerce businesses with Google Ads. These strategies helped me work with known ecom brands like CheeseGeek, as seen on Dragon's Den and invested in by Stephen Bartlett. I also scaled my brother's business, Dropout Official, to 1.1 million in sales in 12 months, as well as many, many more. The Google Ads Ecom Academy is designed for all levels, beginners, intermediates, and experts who want to learn how to successfully scale e-commerce businesses. If you want to win with Google Ads, see the video description for more details. All right, now back to the podcast. It's something I've been working on myself, and it definitely helped, and it's that paired with visualization, with mind movies. I even created a new phone background recently in Canva with like all of my stuff. So I'm looking at that. I'm watching a mind movie, which is a video recording of, like you said earlier, affirmations of things that I'm working towards. I've also been gamifying my life now with a few rewards. When I hit X, I'm going to give myself Y. Because when we last spoke about gamification, I ended up building out a doc. I was like, I need to find a way to gamify my life, because I've done a lot of like the grinding, but I didn't do a lot of the rewarding or the incentivizing. So I've been working on doing that. But it's good to know that a lot of the things you've done that have helped you are all things that I'm actively working on as well. I think it all comes back to, like we've said, mindset, perception, and your own perception on your reality. If you can, the book's called Transcending Reality, right?
Reality Transurfing.
Sorry, Reality Transurfing. So it's just about shaping your own reality in your mind, and then
that's the thing.
It becoming physical.
Because like it's such a crazy thing, because I literally went from a university dropout with no money to my name to living in a Dubai penthouse in like 15 months. Like that's just like what? Like that doesn't make sense. Kind of like to the average person. Like I remember my family friends were hearing that, and they're like, is this legal what he's doing? Like how does that even make sense? Like because they are literally working 9 to 5, still paying taxes, and I'm living in Dubai penthouses and paying no tax. Like it's like it doesn't make sense to the average person. So a big thing was just visualizing in those moments of me already being there, me feeling like I'm physically there. And that it's going to progress you a lot, like very, very fast. Yeah. I think you even got some hate messages. Didn't you, I remember.
Back home?
Yeah, I had a bunch of haters because like once you progress so fast, they try to like cope with just saying like random stuff, like you run a pyramid scheme, like with my I remember I was at Greece and living in this massive villa, and with Nick and Jordan, I was getting a bunch of these hate messages like from old friends, and they're like, you're running a pyramid scheme, like your ancestors like are looking down upon you. It's like what? And then yeah, it's funny though. Like I don't take them seriously at all. It's just, it was honestly good for content, to be honest. Like yeah, it was funny though. But yeah, I had a bunch of those, but I didn't take them seriously at all. It was more just like for jokes, just like look back on. But yeah, a bunch of guys will start hate on you, and it's normal. Just expect it. But yeah. Yeah,
for sure. I think it's just got to block it out and take the high horse. Just keep focusing on working on yourself.
Yeah.
Now you're even living that through some of your mentees. So you mentioned about in-person meetups and really scaling the mentoring and the coaching side of things. If you don't mind me asking, what are you doing aside from YouTube to get in front of a big enough audience to kind of bring people into your coaching program?
Yeah. Well, honestly, the main thing is YouTube.
Okay.
I do Instagram Reels and Instagram stuff like that, and I'm also running ads as well. But like, what actually helps people want to become mentees is just YouTube, because it's like more long form stuff. Like, I paid a one-on-one call for Nathan Nazareth like 2 nights ago actually, and we were talking for like 2 hours, and he said that pretty much everyone in the space is focused on short form content. Like all the creators are focused on short form content. They're not really doing long form, but it's actually kind of a waste of time. Like, it doesn't actually help people want to become clients. Like, it's just awareness and stuff like that. So the big thing is actually focus on long form, because that's actually what converts people.
Yeah.
And it's just overall just get more, I think it's like more just clients and just more popularity and stuff like that. So
yeah, I
think short form is good for like awareness and stuff like that. But I've also seen people with like millions of followers, and they try to sell a product, but they don't make any money because their fan base is just so unattached. They don't know about their story. They don't know about anything. Like, the reason why people want to become mentees is because they've seen me pull it off. Like, they see me pull off these crazy numbers in such a short amount of period of time, and also my client results, stuff like that. So it's like that actually what converts people. So yeah,
telling a story. And I watched your YouTube video last night, and it is interesting, and it is quite gripping, like what you've been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. So you think long form content is really the best focus, or the best place to put your time and energy to really, I guess, build an audience that is attached to you and your story and what you've been able to achieve, and make it relatable.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything else? You mentioned Instagram, maybe some Instagram DMs and stuff like that. Like, do you have a closer who's assisting there and things like that?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
So top of funnel is kind of YouTube, long form. People off of the back of that maybe follow you on Instagram or send you a DM, bit of nurturing, get them on the call and get them into the course.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Not course, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Mentorship. Mentorship.
Yeah, mentorship. Yeah.
My mistake.
I don't want to be framed as a course seller. But I'm joking.
You are right. Mentorship. Okay, so that's interesting. You've kind of taken some of the things that you've learned from your agency in scaling your agency and pretty much just applied them to your own business, but just a slightly different mechanism. So rather than focusing so much on outbound, everything now is coming inbound.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best type of clients to work with. Like, there's no issues. It's like everyone gets really good results. So it's like, well, the people who don't get results simply just don't put in the work. That's the thing. So it's like, I'm going to show you everything you need to do, but if you're just not going to do any inputs on your end, like, I can't really help you, And that's just with everything. Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. I've mentored people on a one-to-one basis to help them build high-ticket dropshipping stores,
right.
And also progress on Google and things like that with regards to Google advertising. And I can give the same person the same time, effort, energy, and attention.
Yeah.
And some people turn up every week and progress. Some people will turn up, take 2 calls, and then disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can give people the exact same thing, but not everyone is just going to be responsive enough and take that and take action, which is... Do you think it's maybe a mindset thing? Or?
It is a mindset thing, yeah. But it's also our responsibility to break that mindset and build a new one as well. So that's what I've done with a lot of guys.
So you put a lot of your focus inside of your mentorship on mindset?
Yes, 100%. It's a massive, massive section, because like you need, like pretty much going from 0 to 10K a month is like all just crazy amount of input and all just crazy mindset shifts. Like, that's the only real thing you have to do. You don't have to hire out a team or do all this stuff. It's just mindset shifts and input. That's all it is.
So you don't have to do an ice bath, meditate.
No, you don't have to do any of that. Yeah, I think that's honestly a waste of time. Like, I think ice baths are a bit of a scam, but like, and also just doing all these crazy morning routine stuff. Like, it's just a waste of time. Like, it's not actually optimized. You have to just wake up and just get to work. Like, there's no like excuse. You have to just literally just wake up, get to work, because you're just procrastinating if you're just doing like ice baths and daily, morning routines, all this stuff. But I think it's a pretty big waste of time. I mean, you could do that stuff later on, like now at our level, where it's just like kind of fun to do and you're optimizing and stuff like that. But at least at the start, bro, just get on a diet of like steak, eggs, fruit, raw honey, and then just bunch of water. You could do a few supplements, and then just wake up, get straight to work, do some cold calls, eat after that, and then just take sales calls, eat, and then go to the gym. And then because like remember when I was in my first nightmare mode protocol, that's actually what I was doing. I was literally just like waking up, I would go straight to cold calls. I'd get a bit of sun like for 5 minutes, get a like liter of water, and then I just go straight to cold calls. And I didn't do anything else in that day. I just like, I didn't see for 100 days straight from September 1st to like December 10th, 2022. I just didn't see anyone. I cut off all my friends, pretty much didn't really talk to my family either. I'd moved cities. I broke with my girlfriend, didn't party, didn't do anything like that, didn't drink. I was just working out every single day, working 12, 15 hours a day straight. And then that was the most painful period of my life, but it was also most enjoyable as well. And I walked out of that making 10K a month, and it was just, it was very, very fun period of my life. Yeah.
Fun?
Even though it was, looking back, it was honestly like, it was fun because I had so much growth in that time. And I attached so much enjoyment to it, because I was just like, every single week that was going by, I just cringed back at my old self, like even like a week past, because I was just growing so much as a person, and I was like, fuck, like this is so cool. Like I'm having so much enjoyment from this. And that was like pure enlightenment, just feeling that constant growth. And it was such a good period of my life. And I don't think I could ever actually really have that feeling again, because it was like breaking from like the 9-to-5 matrix mind to like entrepreneur and like making like a bit of money online. Like that initial break-in period is just like crazy. And now we are in the mind space of like actually like making all this money in entrepreneurship, but I don't think there's going to be like a next breaking point, or maybe there is if we join secret societies or something like that. I don't know.
But I find Dubai is the environment that does that for me.
Yes, actually that's very true. That was actually my second break-in period. It was Dubai.
Because I've been here, this is my 10th month now, and I've said to multiple friends who have come and visited me, I don't know that I would ever have experienced this level of progression or this level of growth
very true.
Had I not moved here. I think environment is really important. There's two different ways to, well, there's probably more than two different ways to do it, but isolating yourself and grinding it out. But then I know you're a big advocate of, once you do have some money, get out, travel, and just get a better perception of what's possible and what's around you. And I think Dubai as an environment is a great place to do that. I think we're both quite big advocates of it. But same as you. I feel like I'm a different person every single month living out here. Even physically, I feel like I look different each month. Like just so many things change. It's changed. But the one thing I would say is life is like on 2x speed out here.
It is.
It just goes very, very fast.
It's very, very fast, because you just progress so fast. Like I'm just, you meet so many people here. It's so easy. Like to meet so many people. I actually moved to Dubai exactly 12 months after I dropped university, which was very, very fast. But like I just progressed extremely fast in this first few months, because I like was just meeting so many people, started making way more money, like avoiding like paying no tax officially, like legally back then as well, which was a big mindset shift as well. Because like once you like actually move your business to Dubai and you start paying no tax, like, oh shit, this is like the real deal kind of thing. And that was just such a fun time. And I still have those feelings now, but it's like having that initial moving to Dubai period was just crazy. It's like it opens up your eyes so much. Yeah, for sure. I'd say to anyone that's maybe considering it and thinking of it as a scary move, it's not even that bad.
It's the easiest thing.
It's so easy. It takes a few weeks, like renounce the residency in Canada and then just move here. Like it's super easy.
So I think you've proven now that when it comes to social media marketing, you're the guy. You've been there. You've done it. You've had your own agency. You're now mentoring people, not of course, mentoring people and helping people scale very aggressively, very quickly. So for people that are listening that maybe want to learn a bit more about your mentorship and kind of how it works, could you walk us through your program, or kind of what that period looks like if someone did want to sign up, and what they can kind of expect?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, well, I guess they can see me online just like from Instagram, stuff like that, YouTube. But at least when they sign up, we get an onboarding call with me, and we're going to clear action step and pretty much game plan on what we need to do, reverse engineer the goals, all that stuff in order to hit it in record time. And then from there, add you to the group chats, the community, the network, stuff like that. I don't really like to call it a community. It's more of a network because it's very like small and tight knit. And there's certain guys who could help you out with so many different things. And from there, we're pretty much just like weekly mentoring calls and also guest speaker calls, sales coaching calls, service delivery calls, stuff like that. And you get to just talk to a bunch of other mentees, stuff like that. You could live with them even. Like I've got 5 or not, probably like 10 mentees actually, between 5 and 10 right now. We're all living together in Thailand, just like in villas and stuff like that. And I got a bunch moving out to Dubai. So it's like, I think actually like 5 are in Dubai right now, just all living together. So it's just like, it's a crazy, even if it's only like 100 people or just about 100 people, like it's crazy the effect you could have, even if it's like that small of a network.
Yeah, for sure.
So
appreciate you sharing that with us. So you've told us essentially everything that people can get from the course. Is there 2 questions? Is it a lifetime membership, and is there any kind of offer or guarantee or outcome from joining?
Yeah. So it used to be kind of like a lifetime thing, but I realized like, all right, I want to mentor people forever, but now it's more of like 6 months kind of thing. And there also is a guarantee as well. So as long as you do the input, then you're obviously eligible for it. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So I'll put a link to the mentorship. I keep wanting to say course. Mentorship in the description.
Sure,
and how else can people find you, Eric? Obviously, Instagram's a nice easy one because it's just at Eric, but where else can people find you?
Honestly, it's YouTube, just Eric Kavelaars, and also Instagram, Eric Kavelaars, or Eric, the username as well. So yeah, you guys could check me out there. Also, drop me any message. I'm happy to chat with any of you guys, answer all your questions, whatever it is. So yeah.
Well, thank you for coming down. It's been really insightful to learn about your journey, your mindset, and how you apply that to your life. I think I'm going to recommend that people listen to the book, Reality Transurfing. Yeah. I've also downloaded it, so I'm going to give it a listen. So watch out. We'll see what I'm able to do. But yeah, thank you for sharing everything today about the agency, how you're able to grow it, and what you're doing. It's been an interesting journey, and no doubt people will be able to pull a lot of great insights from it.
100%, man. That was amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, man.